Before we hop into the project, I wanted to let you know about an exciting update that we just released in Shipyard. The process that I outlined later on in this video, and any other vendor, any other Blueprint vendor that we have that starts a process in the vendor are going to be completely free to run. Like actually $0. Like you don't have to pay us any billable runtime to run these processes. That's pretty awesome, but that is enough about Shipyard right now. Let's jump into the project. Hello, this is Steven Johnson. I'm a data community advocate here at Shipyard, and I'm coming at you again with another end-to-end data engineering workflow or project here. And this is a little bit of a follow-up from the project that I made a couple weeks ago where we did some stuff in DBT Core inside of Shipyard. So that video was much more technical than this one's going to be. We want this video to be using more low-code tools, some more things like that. So it should be a lot easier to get up and running, but obviously it'll be using some external vendors. So kind of the walkthrough of where we're going to go in this video is we're going to extract data using Fivetran from a Google Sheet. So we're going to extract the data from our newsletter submissions sheet that we use internally here at Shipyard. So we're going to extract that into BigQuery, and then once it is in BigQuery, we're going to use DBT Cloud to do some transformations on that data. We're only doing one table this time versus the multiple tables that we had last time, so it's going to be a lot less SQL writing here. I'm going to focus a lot less on the DBT part of this project. I just want to show that you can orchestrate the DBT Cloud inside of Shipyard. And then after we get done with that, the visualization layer here, we're actually going to use Hex this time. So we used Looker Studio last time. We're going to use Hex. One, I love notebooks. I know that's a controversial topic, but I love notebooks and I love using Hex. So we're going to use Hex to do some basic visualizations there that I can share with my team to show them what articles have been submitted or what haven't been submitted, so they don't submit the same article again if someone else already submitted it. And that's going to be the full length of our workflow here. Is we're going to go from Fivetran into BigQuery, transform DBT Cloud, visualize with Hex. So once we get done with that, that'll be kind of the end-to-end workflow. So what you need to know to kind of follow along here, obviously we're going to be using these different vendors. I'm going to go through the full process of setting up these vendors as we go. So I'm sure there's going to be mistakes that happen. If you're a Fivetran, DBT Cloud, or Hex expert, you might watch some of this and be like, man, this guy's crazy. I am a little crazy. But feel free to drop any hints you have or some tips that you have for any of these products below to help me out and obviously to help the larger data community out. We would definitely appreciate that. So definitely, some knowledge of these vendors will be helpful to you. And then of course we're going to write some very basic SQL inside of DBT Cloud as well. But other than that, this should be a much less technical version of the data project that we did last time. So without further ado, let's dive into Fivetran and let's extract this Google Sheet into BigQuery. So starting off with looking at our Google Sheet here, you can see what this Google Sheet looks like. So it has who on the team has submitted an article, the title of the article length, author, so on and so forth, name of publication. So this is all good information that we can use to kind of get some insights into what articles we're pulling for all hands on data. So that's what we want to pull into BigQuery, just so we can have it in a database versus just having it in this Google Sheet. So hopping over into Fivetran. So the only thing I've done in Fivetran so far is actually set up the destination for BigQuery. We're sending it to our Shipyard Demos organization here. So again, just didn't want to show that part just because I didn't want to bore you just too much. But let's work on getting this connector set up. So a Google Sheets, so we're going to add a Google Sheets connection and destination schema, Google Sheets. That's fine. So this would be newsletter submission. Okay, there we go. So we'll do this. Authorize access to all spreadsheets your user can access. We'll do that. Authorize the API. Log ourselves in here. Allow that. All right, so that did that. So we want the sheet URL now. So we'll grab our sheet URL, copy, paste that in. Named range. Oh, that's right. We have to do a range here. It's been a while, so it's manually select the range, select just the columns, view select just the columns, Fivetran. Okay, that works. So we do data, name range. Okay, so data, named ranges here. So we have our Fivetran test range. So let's just go ahead and do that. Let's just include all the other columns. How about that? So I think we used this on another one, but we just want up until H. J is just a lazy column for me. Well, that did not work like we wanted it to, did it? So let's select a range. So we want E as well. We would like F as well. We would like G, and we'd like H. I'm not going to go to the Excel esports event based on my abilities here, as you can tell. All right, so we got A through H there, so that should grab all of our columns. So that's our Fivetran test range. So we have that Fivetran test range. We should be able to save and test here. Let's see if it works. Finding specify sheet, validating name range. So all connection test pass. So we can continue. So that looks good to go. So we got Google Sheets into Shipyard demos. You can see that this is paused. So we can go ahead and start an initial sync. So it's going to go ahead and kick that sync off to pull that data in for the very first time. You can see it says first time sensing data for this connector. So it's loading. So while it's doing that, I do want to note, so at the end of this, we are going to connect all this together with Shipyard so that we can orchestrate this process to run every so often to get this data coming in from our newsletter every week once our team submits. So with that in mind, I do want to go to the setup here, and you can see that we have the connector ID, perishable tomb. So based on that connector ID is important for us to note perishable tomb or know where at least where it is later, because that's what we're going to need. That's what we're going to need inside of Shipyard to actually make that connection happen. So while this is running, we're gonna wait just a moment for this to finish up syncing, and then once this is done syncing, we're gonna jump inside of BigQuery and take a look and see, make sure the data is there and it's exactly what we wanted it to be. So jumping back in here, I didn't want to make you watch this Fivetran run continue to take place. So it wasn't that much data, but if we zoom in here, you can see that we did get some data actually pulled in here, 303 kilobytes of extract there, so on and so forth there. So it looks like the Fivetran extraction did work into BigQuery. So let's go into BigQuery and let's take a look and see if it actually did or not. So we refresh the contents. You can see there's our Google Sheets. There's our newsletter submission. If I preview this, we'll have our Fivetran sync column, but there's our article link, author of article, date to publish, so on and so forth. So you can see that this data did come in as we wanted it to, which is great. So it looks like our Fivetran part of this is done, so the data is extracted. So now what we're going to do is hop into dbt Cloud and start transforming this data and making some things be a little bit prettier than they are now. So let's jump into dbt Cloud. So there's a little bit of cleanup we need to do with the data that we brought over from Google Sheets. Just one good example of that is sometimes some of our employees, not going to name any names, you'll see them in just a moment, put their first name instead of their full name. So we're going to clean some of that stuff up. Before we do that though, we need to set up our dbt project here. So you can see it defaults as my new project. We're going to rename this to, well, not all caps, so long form trigger blueprints. We'll name it that. So that name then needs to come down here, there. We do have that example folder right now. We'll leave it there, but we will go ahead and create a Google Sheets folder and have it materialized as a view as well. Okay, so that should be good to go there. And again, before I continue working on here, I do want to preface all this with I am not a master of dbt Cloud, not a master of using dbt. I know enough to get things done, so I have to leave the judgments to dbt experts after this one. So you have to forgive me for my ignorance sometimes here. So let's jump in. So let's create our folder here. We called that Google Sheets, I believe. There we go. Make sure they match. They do. Perfect. So we're going to need our schema, and we're going to need our actual SQL files. So what we're going to do is we're going to bring this in. So we're going to create a file. So this is raw, all hands on data submissions.sql. Okay, so pull that in there. So this is, of course, we're pulling in. We're just going to basically just pull this straight in here. So we're going to select star, if I can spell. Or actually, I can be lazy and just pull that directly from here. So we're just going to select star from there. Boom. Paste that in there. Should be able to preview that. And it's going to run. Okay, so there we go. There's our, go ahead and pull that up here so we can see. There's all of our data there. All right, perfect. Okay, cool. So we got what we want there. So we're going to, so that's our raw. So we can go ahead and save that. So there's our raw. So now we want to do an intermediate model here where we're going to start doing a little bit of cleanup. So we will do, so we're going to create another file under the Google Sheets folder. So we'll call this ints, all hands on data submissions.sql. All right. So we're going to start doing some cleanup here. So we're going to do with query, I'll call this no Fivetran. So this is going to get rid of those Fivetran columns as boom. So we're going to select, we're going to come through and grab these column names. So newsletter submission. So we don't want the row. That's a Fivetran column. We don't want that. We don't want Fivetran sync. We'll take article link, author of article. So we'll do article length. author of article here. Perfect. Let's see, date to publish, name of publication. We want that. Publication, take the timestamp. We will take the title of article. Who is this? And why is this article interesting to you? It's weird that who is this has an extra underscore at the end. We'll clean that up later. And why is this article interesting to you? Pull that in. So perfect. That works there. Let's make sure that, I probably need a from statement, huh? Whew, I don't write SQL every day. It's fine. So from, and then we need to grab, we want to take it from this. And I've already forgotten how to reference those. Yeah, there we go. Whew. There we go. Perfect. From ref. And we're going to ref raw AHOD submissions there. AHOD submissions. Okay, so let's just test to make sure that this is working like we want it to. So we're going to select star from query no Fivetran. Perfect. Preview. Okay. So that's not great. That's right. We have to save and then run this to get what we want there. Okay, so that's no big deal. So we're gonna do that. Okay, that's fine. So we're just gonna do a dbt build here to build this thing out. I'm referencing something that hasn't been built yet, so that doesn't help. Okay. Failed not null test, but okay, so we got raw AHOD. Okay, so it looks like they're both built this time, so I should be able to preview this now. There we go. All right, cool. Yeah, we failed our test, but we'll worry about those a little bit later. We're not that worried about test here because again, some of this is all coming in from our team. So, okay. So we got that up and running now. So now we need to actually do some cleanup here. So we're gonna start with who is this? So what I want to do is I want to select the distinct. Who is this? From that. Okay, so here's the names. I can pull this up a little bit so we can see all of them. So you can see that there are, so there's me, Wes, Reed, continuing down the page here. So you can see that there's duplicates there, which is odd. ARYNN. Anyways, we'll work on cleaning that up. But you can see that there's Wes without his last name and then Joseph without the last name. So we want to clean that up and make it so Wes and Joseph have the same last name or have their last names in there. So let's do that real quick. So we're going to need a case statement, obviously, to do that. So let's see. So we're going to call this query name cleanup as boom. So again, we're going to select everything that we want, and then we want to clean up some things there. So we're actually going to use some ChatGPT here in a second too to help us write some SQL, just because I'm not a SQL expert by any stretch of the imagination. So we want article link. We'll pause on author of article, or no, we want author of article, sorry. So that, we'll do date to publish. We will do name of publication. We will do timestamp. We'll do title of article. Who is this is what we want, and then why is this article interesting to you? Okay, cool. So we're gonna pull up ChatGPT because again, why not? So let's say that I want to change the value in a column from, we're going to use Wes as an example here, from Wes to Wes Polson. There we go. From Wes to Wes. Make sure I spell his last name right so he doesn't get mad at me. There we go. Wes Polson. Perfect. I'm going to change the value in a column from Wes. Okay, in SQL. All right. So let's let ChatGPT write some code here for us. Update, blah, blah, blah. Set your column name. That is not what we want. Oh no, it is what we want. Okay, cool. Okay, so can we run updates in I guess we probably can, right? Probably can do that. All right. So let's just try to do that real quick. So let's see if we can. Honestly, I've never ran an update. So let's see if we can do this with a select statement. Can you do the same thing in a select statement? All right. You can create a view, blah, blah, blah. Without exchange name. Yeah, that's what I want to do. There we go. Now we're talking. All right, case, else. All right, there we go. Now, all right, now we're talking. Okay, so we want our case statement here to clean this up. So boom, let's see. So in here, so we'll do a comma case. When your column name is Wes, make it Wes Polson. So let's see. We want to go ahead and do this for 2 names now. So let's make ChatGPT do that for us. Can you add Joseph to Joseph McDermott? Perfect. There we go. Put that in there. To Joseph McDermott and that case statement as well. Perfect. Let's see what happens here. Using blah, 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 using a select statement. Perfect. Case when that, else. Perfect. All right, cool. All right. So let's do that. Okay. So let's just do the full case statement here. Else your column name. Probably need the case statement, right? It's a case. We're going to use all caps. Perfect. We'll indent, and as column name as, and we'll name this as crew member. There we go. And this was, who is this? Boom, boom, boom. Let's see what happens. Well, that'll do it. Okay, on line 31. Well, I should probably put a from statement in there. How about that? So from, boom. So from query, Fivetran, we're gonna throw that in there, and then of course we want query name cleanup to go there. So perfect. And then we'll preview that. Okay. As at 31 none. I got to end as, right? Yeah, there we go. Okay, so end as. Perfect. All right, cool. So now let's preview this. I need to brush up on my SQL is what we're learning here. Okay, so I think we're good there. So let's do a select distinct crew member from that and just make sure that it's cleaned up like we want. Perfect. There we go. Okay, cool. All right. Not sure why Aaron's name's showing up twice, but that's okay. All right, cool. So we got basically what we want there, so that's good. All right. So now the next thing we want to do to clean up this data is I want to clean up the timestamps here. I think there's not, we don't really care what time people submitted their articles. So timestamps there. Yeah. Okay, cool. All right, so that'll work. Or actually, we'll just keep the times in there. That's okay. So we changed the crew member. That looks good. We have article length. So I think we're okay. Title of article. Yeah, so we're just gonna go ahead and save that. So it looks to be good there. So now we're gonna do a few aggregations here to actually get some interesting stuff out of there. So I want to see who is doing a good job of actually filling in their Google form correctly. So this is where we're gonna start tossing in some of our some aggregations. So I'm gonna do a mart all hands on data submissions .sql. Okay, and then here we don't care. We're just gonna do a straight select star from ref or boom ref parentheses Excuse me. There we go. So this is just gonna be the straight data. We'll need it later on. Perfect. We're gonna save that. That's all we want there. All right. So now what we're gonna do is we're gonna do some aggregations. You could do these in a BI tool. We're gonna do them inside of SQL here, just because it'll be a little bit more fun. So what we're gonna do? So we're gonna do Google Sheets. We're gonna create a file. We're gonna do Mart. No publication name.sql. Okay. So that's perfect. We're going to do create. So we're going to start off with a select. So we just want so looking at this, we just want the name of publication. We want name of publication and crew member. Let's make this look uniform. Perfect. Let's make our select all caps. There we go. And this is going to be from the int model. Ref int. There we go. All right. So then we want to say when or where name of publication is null. I think BigQuery SQL can do that. I believe so. That is not. So crew member is not what it's called in int all hands on today. I got to rerun it. That's the problem. Okay, so let's do a dbt run. Let's go back and save our changes. Now let's do a dbt run. You're going to run through this and build that model out based on how we have it built now. So there's our raw, there's our Mart. Perfect. There we go. Okay, so now we should be able to look at this. All right. You're going to see a lot of Stevens here is what we're going to see, unfortunately. Okay, so we want to do a count. So select, so this is where so with query, no pub as that. Say. No one can get mad at me because I'm gonna be I'll be the top person here for sure every time. Okay, so query aggregate. So we're gonna select. We want to do a count of crew member from select count from crew member from query no pub. And we want to group by the crew member, right? Perfect. And then we would want to do a select star from query aggregate. Perfect. Let's give it a run. Well, I should probably put the crew number in there, right? That would be helpful. There we go. Perfect. So we know what's happening here. Perfect. And then count as number of submissions without publication. All right, cool. So I got this now. So you can see it's literally mostly me, some Blake, and some Angel. So that's great. So we're going to do the same thing, but with the author of article. All right, cool. So we're going to do a Mart. This one will be easy because we basically just do the same thing. So Mart, no author name.sql. It's going to be basically me again. So we're going to do the same thing basically there. Like 7.7 name of publication. We want the author of article there. Perfect. Where author of article is null. Perfect. Perfect. Without author. Change that to author. That query. Boom. I need to give it a run. Okay, so a little bit more variety here. A little bit more variety here. So basically me, and then John, Angel, Blake, and Eric. So So what we're seeing here is that people are a little bit more likely to leave the publication out than the author, which makes sense because sometimes the publication is, like a blog post or something like that, and it's like, do you put Medium as so it makes sense based on what we have there. So let's take a look and see if we want to clean anything else out there. Date to publish looks fine. Timestamps okay. Those are just big text boxes. Article link, just big text box. So I think we're okay. The only thing that we could clean up if we wanted to is the article, like maybe just clean up the article link just to get the base URL. But I think we're fine where we are here. So this looks like our data is good to go. So let's do one more DBT run here to make sure that we have the data, or that everything's running like we want. It looks like it is. And then I should be able to go into BigQuery. Just refresh the contents here. We have DBT demo, and you can see here's all of our tables, what we have here. But first off, I probably need to clean up that column name, right? I forgot to do that. Oh no, I did that. Okay, cool. All right. So yeah, a little bit more painful going through the DBT cloud here. Obviously, my DBT skills are not the best, if we're being honest, but just wanted to go through this full process here, going through the DBT. So now what we're going to do is we're going to jump into Hex and actually work on building out some visualizations that we can provide the team so that they can look at what's going on with the all hands on data submission. So let's jump into Hex next. So this is where we're going to build out our visualizations so the team can look and see what's going on with the all hands on data submissions. Right now, they have to go look at the Google Sheet. It's not a great user experience. So let's build some things out here. So the only thing I've done here inside of Hex is I've renamed my project to long form trigger blueprints. And then I've also connected BigQuery in. I realized that we already had BigQuery connected when I did other projects, so didn't get to walk through that with you. But other than that, we're starting fresh here. So what I have, so jumping into this, so we have to query these tables inside of here to get them kind of as data frames so that we can use them inside of visualizations. So all of our marts here, we want to query. We'll take off these limits because we want to get the full table. So we'll take that mart, we'll take that mart, and we'll take that mart. So those are our 3 marts there. So get rid of the limits on these. And then I'm just going to rerun everything. Just so we have all the data that we want. Okay. So now it's good to go. So the first visualization, I'm going to put visualization in quotation marks because, it's a table, so I guess it counts as a visualization. I just want to give the team the ability to actually just look at this data in a table form. So I can do that with a table display here. I want to go back through and rename these data frames. I meant to do that. Sorry. So let's go back up. So this is full all hands on data. So that's good there, and I'll have to rerun these afterwards. So this is all hands on data, no author, and all hands on data, no pub. All right, cool. So that works there. So I'm going to rerun these so that they'll have their names because that's important. Okay, cool. So again, the first thing I want to do is just give them the table. So full all hands on data here. Okay, gives them the ability to look through that, do anything they want there. So that's good. So that's the table that we need. So that works. So we're going to add that to the app. All right, cool. Excuse me, the next visualization that we want, I meant to do this in SQL earlier, but it works because we can just make it as a visualization here. I want to put together a visualization that shows how many articles each team member has submitted. I know, which we'll see in just a moment, that 1 or 2 of us have submitted way more than the rest of the team. Again, this is all just for fun, so just to show that off. I've always mentioned it to the team, but being able to show them will be cool. So we want the full all hands on data. We're going to do, we want the crew member as the x-axis. We want an aggregation, so we want a count of crew member on the y-axis. It's going to give us that. And so you can see by looking at this, John Forsmeyer has put the most in. Next Kat, or I guess next me, and then Kat, followed up by Blake and John there. So some of the team members haven't been on the team as long as others, so that definitely helps, or it definitely makes it different. But cool to kind of, I've always mentioned how John always submits a ton of articles, so it's good to see that at the table. So we'll do articles submitted by team member. Okay, so that works there. I'm going to add that to app. Okay, so now I want to do the no author name and the no publication name as well. So we're going to do charts. So we're basically going to do the same thing here. So no author, crew member, number of submissions without author. Yep. So you can see not much, not much, not much, and then a lot for me. So we'll do number of articles submitted. Number of articles submitted without an author. Cool. Oh, if I can spell author, there we go. So that looks good. We're going to add that to the app. And then last but certainly not least, we're going to get the no publication. Do the same thing. Thankfully, it's smart to figure out what I'm doing there. I'm going to be lazy. So number of articles submitted without a publication. Beautiful. Boom. All right, cool. So again, a lot for me, but that works. Add that to the app. So now we can take a look at the app real quick. You can see kind of what it looks like there. Again, nothing just like too fancy, but it does show off what's with. Yeah, there we go. Just show off what we want there. So I'm going to go ahead and publish this thing. So it's going to run through all the things and publish it. And then after this, we'll be able to actually run it in Shipyard to get the data refresh, which is pretty cool. So it's running. We will publish it. So first version. Boom. Beautiful. Great. That works. All right, cool. So we're able, we can also throw some filters on there if we want to, but we're just going to leave this kind of raw for right now and see what the team does with it at that point. All right, so that's all the work done in Hex. You can see how quick that was to kind of get these visualizations up and running. I love Hex. I love notebooks. So there's other notebook vendors out in the space like DeepNote as well. I love the products that they put out with these notebooks where you can write some SQL, write some Python, mix and match them together. I think that's really great. So that's all the work that we have to do in Hex. So now all that we have left is putting all this together inside a Shipyard and making it so it's orchestrating properly, going from Fivetran to dbt Cloud into Hex. So let's dive into Shipyard and see how we can do that. I would argue that this is probably the easiest part of this whole project. Of course, I'm a little biased. I work at Shipyard, so I use it every day, but I do think it's still the easiest part of the process. So again, now we want to connect our Fivetran process into dbt Cloud into Hex. So let's talk about how we're going to do that. So starting off with Fivetran here, we're going to use our trigger sync blueprint. So it's going to create it for us over here in the fleet builder. We're going to use our Fivetran credentials that we have saved for API key, API secret. So we're going to need our connector ID. So in Fivetran, that's in our connector. We were in status. We go to setup. Perishable tomb there is that connector ID. Perfect for a Halloween season connector. Sponsored by the Mummy. It's actually not, but it'd be awesome. All right, so perishable tomb there. For sync, whatever, that's fine. And then we do want to wait for completion. So that's gonna make the vessel wait until the Fivetran job is finished before it goes on to the next vessel downstream. So that's what we want there. So we go back to add another vessel. We're going to search for dbt Cloud. We have that here. Again, we're going to trigger the job. That's going to create it down here. It doesn't like my resolution settings, so it's somewhere. There it is. Pull it up. Perfect. Zoom back in a little bit. Great. All right, so again, we're going to use our dbt credentials we have saved. And then all we need is our job ID. So for a dbt job, whenever you have your job pulled up here, you just copy that from the URL. Perfect. Toss that in there. We are going to wait for completion again. We want to connect those together. So now we have our Fivetran. Whenever the Fivetran trigger is done successfully, we're going to go to dbt Cloud. Whenever the dbt Cloud job is done successfully, we're going to hop over into Hex. And we're going to trigger our project. Again, we got to go find that vessel. Perfect. I don't have my Hex credentials saved because they expire every 30 days. So I'm going to go ahead and grab that from 1Password. From API token. And then project ID is under variables here. So variables, Hex project ID is right there. So let me copy that without the quotation marks there. Perfect. Paste that in. We don't want to wait for completion on this one because we still can, but we don't have to since we have nothing downstream. So this is perfectly set up here for us. So now we want to go ahead and name this. I'm going to name this long form project trigger blueprints. All right, cool. So that's good. I'm going to go ahead and save the fleet there. It's going to save that with all three of our vessels there and ready to go. So we can see that we have those. We can go ahead and click run now. So when we click run now, it's going to schedule this fleet to run immediately. So as it's running, you can see there is the Fivetran job that just started. You can see it's that yellowish orange color whenever it's running. It's going to turn green when it finishes successfully. If it turns red, that means it's errored out. It'll give us an error message we can go back and fix. So while this is actually running, I do want to pop over and show the triggers here. So for our triggers tab, we have a scheduling trigger and we have a webhook trigger. I'm not going to actually click on anything there. You can kind of see, you can schedule hourly, daily, weekly, monthly, whatever you expect to schedule on a schedule. It's going to work there for you. With the webhook, a lot more interesting over there on the right side. The webhook gives you a URL to call to kick this thing off. You can put that in any app, in any application that can make a webhook. You can call that using a Python or curl commands. A lot of fun there, and you can also set up parameters to run there as well. So if you have maybe 10 of these jobs that you want to do Fivetran, DBT Cloud into Hex, you could basically just have one fleet set up, send the different job IDs for each one of those 3 vendors through the webhook trigger and just do one at a time, which would be a nice use case of that. We also have version control there. I'm not going to pop into that, but every time we click save on the bottom right-hand corner of our screen when we're working on our fleet, it's going to create a new version for us. We can revert back to old versions, create new fleets from old versions as well, compare what changed between versions. So everything you would expect with version control is there for you. So let's pop back into the logs and see what's going on here. So click into this. You can see the Fivetran job has finished. If I click into that, you're going to be able to see the sync is completed. We have some info here showing you what's going on. And you can see up here on the top, here is our inputs. You can see that the key and secret, since their credentials are going to be saved as XXX, so you can't print them out. You can't show them. So someone from your team can't just come in and look at your API key and API secret, or someone not from your team, if that's, hopefully that doesn't ever happen to you, but it's protected just in case. So popping back into the fleet log, you can see since the Fivetran job finished, the DBT Cloud job is now kicking off. And I can actually pop into Fivetran and actually kind of show off what happened there. You can see it's currently 2:36. If I hover over, let me change that to an hour and make it a little bit bigger. You can see, 2 minutes ago that finished running. So that's that run that actually happened there. So 2:34 with 47 seconds. So pretty much at 2:35, like we would expect from the logs. If I pop back into Shipyard, you can see the DBT Cloud job is currently running. If I click into that, I'm gonna wait until it finishes to click into that. So go back into DBT and you can actually see there's the run that happens. You can see it ran by Shipyard. It gives you the fleet ID and the vessel ID there and the log ID, so you can take a look and see exactly what happened. So you can see it's differently from if you just kick it off from the UI. Like you click that button, it's going to give you the train triggered manually. This is telling you, hey, this is triggered by Shipyard. That's pretty cool for visibility there. So if you have your logs, you can see there's that run that just happened there. That's the run I did for testing. This is the run that just happened. You can see finished at 36 minutes. That's where we're at there. So pop back into Shipyard. You can see that just turned green, as we would expect, since that did finish successfully. And then last but certainly not least, we're going to have our Hex job kick off. Hex job, we're not waiting for completion. So once it starts and kicks off, it's going to finish up really quickly. You can see there it just started with that yellowish orange color, and then it should finish up in just a moment whenever that Hex job finishes up. There it is. And so you can see those all finished successfully. There's information in a table if you want that as well. You can see throughout this project, we set up a job going from extracting a data from Google Sheets using Fivetran into BigQuery. We transformed that data using DBT Cloud. And then last but not least, we put that data into Hex and made some visualizations that I can share with my team in an app. So all of this was done and orchestrated through Shipyard. So whenever I put more data into that Google Sheet, I can rerun this project to make that data flow into BigQuery, be transformed by DBT Cloud, and then visualize using Hex. So you can see that this project took a little under an hour. So that's obviously great. I mean, there's obviously more that we could do here that we might jump into later in the future. But all of this is easily done inside of Shipyard. So again, thanks for joining us, and we'll see you next time we work on one of these projects together.